Hey, good evening, everybody. What is going on? What is happening? Welcome in, welcome in. Tuesday night. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm excited to be with y'all tonight. Share a little bit about a game that I played this past weekend. And we're going to talk a little bit about running games larger than what maybe you're used to. I'm going to talk about, so this way, I'm going to talk about the game that I just played this weekend that was larger than I was used to. And so when we start talking about it, you guys are welcome to ask any questions. Hopefully, I'll be able to answer some questions for you about running games larger than what you're used to, maybe. So feel free to share your thoughts on that. And yes, we have a lot of. Let's see. Hello, Daniel. How are you? Good to see you, sir. I'm glad you're here. I'll make sure these are nice and big here so we can see everybody. And so, like I said, if you have questions as we go along, that'll be fine. And we'll go from there. And then let's see what else we're going to talk about. Hello, Mark's Genre Mixer. What's going on, man? Um, I know some of you are confused because you're used to seeing me amongst many heads, maybe. It's just my head today. I'm sorry that you have to deal with that. I'm sorry that you can't look away. you can't stare at another box because it's just me. One big box here, just me and you. Okay, and I like that. I like that. I love the other stuff too. I love hanging out with other people, but I also like just talking with you know my community in general. Those of you who subscribe to this channel, I hope that you are a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber yet, by the way, why not? Just go ahead and subscribe. If you like stuff about D&D and you like DM tips and you like working out world building type things, which is what I'm doing as well. And so if you like those sort of things, please go ahead and subscribe. And also, if you are interested in becoming a member, if you become a member, I have a special new membership level. It's just 99 cents. And for that 99 cents a month, that whopping 99 cents a month, by the way, you will get the zine. You'll get my Crit Happen zine. You say, Paul, how does that work? Well, it's real simple. You're going to sign up, become a member. I'm going to then every month send this out to you. We'll get emails, all those kind of things, because this is already only $2. So basically, by becoming a member, you're already paying $1 in. So, for me, it's like, hey, there you go, something for you, right? So if you sign up for a buck, a month, there is another level. That I think I want to say it's $4.99 a month. You're welcome to that as well, but you don't have to, right? It's just there for you. If you say, look, Paul, we want to support the channel, that's fine. But that's why I did the 99 cents, is so that you could have maybe an option to jump in and then get the zine, get the PDF. By the way, I should make that clear. I don't do physical ones. I encourage you to print it out at your local print shop and go from there. All right, So I think we have cleared the board to some degree. Hello, Mr. Erudite DM. Good to see you this evening. We're going to jump into it because I have lots to share tonight about my event, my big weekend. For those of you that don't know, I am a professional, and I say that. It always sounds so pretentious when you say it. That if you mow lawns for a living, you're a professional landscaper, right? You mow lawns for a living. You do a lot more than that, I'm sure. But nobody gets looks. But if you say you're a professional dungeon master, a professional game master, it's like, oh, it's one of those. Well, listen, it's okay. I try to, I try to keep that all in check because in reality, it's just gas money. Just look at it that way. No, I'm not. There's no, there's nobody getting rich here in the old Flint household here. So, but I do it because number one, I think I'm okay at it. It's a skill. It's gas money, and it's a challenge. I always like a good challenge. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump in. We got plenty of. Wow, look at this! Holy macaronis! All right, let's get into it. So let's go ahead and start with the picture. I want to show you of of what I did this weekend in the group. I had a very large group. This is the largest group I've ever DM'd for. I think before that, maybe it was 7, maybe. I don't think it was. I think it was 6. 6 is usually my sweet spot for running games. It's just my comfort level. Feel free to. What is your number? Hit me in the chat. What is your comfort level of the number of people you have in a group? Right? You say, Paul, I can have 20. You're crazy. That's good for you, but not for me. 6 is like max that I'm comfortable with. Can I do more? Yes, I'm about to show you. But to me, D&D is a very it's an intimate game in the sense that if I'm paying attention to them, I want them to feel like their character is mattering in the game. And sometimes in larger groups, that feeling can not be there. It could be like I'm one of 8, 9 other people, and you're going to get about this much spotlight. So my level of wanting to run games for people is the fact that why I keep it small is because I want the people to feel like they're having a good time, but they're also being paid attention to, and they're also have a character. Their character feels like they're in the game, right? Mark says 4 to 5. Okay, 4 to 5. Okay, good. That's a good number. Daniel says, are you kidding? My son is a professional video game coach. Yes, it's a thing. Yeah, but people do. It's amazing. It's amazing, Daniel, because when I tell people, people have left comments, it's like, what? And then it gets weirder when I tell them that I'm a certified game, a therapeutic game host, It's a certified therapeutic game master, excuse me. And that means I work together with therapists, counselors, social workers, and help with interventions and those type of things with students and clients that they may have that, for whatever it is they're working on. Daniel says Daniel could handle 8. Look at you, buddy. You're a beast. 8. Joe, max 5. Joe Cool, hey buddy, good to see you. I've seen, by the way, I know Joe Cool he's played in my games. I want to say I've played in his games. Maybe I haven't, I don't know. But I know he runs a great table, Joe Cool does. And I've seen him have maybe more than I've seen 5. Have you done, max is 5 for you, but do you do more than 5? Have I seen more than 5 at your table? Because I feel like you've had more than 5, and you always have a handful. That's for sure. So let me show you the picture then of this group here. Here we are in our element here. This is the group, and if you can count, there's 1, 2 besides me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not 9 because you can see. Yeah, I think there's 9. I'm sorry. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me, 8. There's nobody there's nobody in that middle part. So there's 8. Now there was supposed to be the initial amount that I was told was going to be 6 or 7 playing. And then at the last minute, some people decided there was going to be some duality. There was going to be people who were going to team up to play one character, and I had a plan for that. I'll talk about that in another video. But now I had 8, and now I'm like, okay. So it went from 6 to 7 to now to 8. Not too much difference, but that person, when you add an extra 1 or 2 people, it does take up that much more time. And let me go ahead and show you another picture here. Let's see. There we go. There's another good looking picture. Yeah. Let's see. This is a good looking group, guys. This is a fun group, I have to say. Fun group of people. And they hired me based on the fact of my local game store, which I had run games at before. And they say, hey, do you know anything that runs these games? And this was like the atypical, if you want to talk about like the Mercer effect, some of that is there because this was for a birthday party. And I felt like I was running like a Stranger Things party. Like there was, like you saw in the picture, it was like 80s like vibe going on. There was cloaks, all those kind of things, right? There was stuff going on. I was underdressed. Had I known that it was like costumes. Like I could have, you know, I could have done something. All I had was my DM hat. This is my DM hat. When I tell them that's like Over the Top. You ever seen Over the Top? You ever seen Over the Top? Where it was Sylvester Stallone, that when he does, he flips his hat backwards, he becomes a different guy, right? Well, when I put my DM hat on, it is all business, my friend. I'm a different person. I'm not going to put that on tonight because I'm not DMing. But, let's see. Daniel says 45 years experience. All right. I got 30. I got playing 40. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 42 now. I'm doing the math here. 42, 44 now. I'm doing the math here. 42, 44, 44. Yeah, 44 this year. 44. And Joe Cool says I have run 8. It's so much chaos. So much chaos. It is. And this was a great group, by the way. Fantastic group of people. They paid me well. They tipped me. And it was chaos. It really was. It was. I was running, and I'll get into this. Was this a good idea or not? We'll see. I ran the Sunless Citadel, and I chopped it down. Some might say, Paul, that may have been too much for this group. Now, nobody in this group knew how to play. Not one person. And I was mentioning earlier about the Mass Mercer effect, is that they saw on YouTube somebody. I'm going to say Matt Mercer. It could be anybody. There's a dozen of them right now, right? They saw it on YouTube and they said, hey, we want somebody to come and run the game for us. And the minute I heard that, I went, I'm in the Matt Mercer effect. I'm living it right now. They have some expectations maybe that I am not going to fulfill. I can tell you right now, it's not going to happen. So I told them, I said, listen, I know you're here. You watch this on video, right? You watch this a YouTube video and you saw this, and let's be fair. Let's do this. If you don't judge me by the person you saw on the YouTube video, I won't judge you by the players I've seen in YouTube videos. I said, let's be fair with one another. Okay. So you don't judge me as a DM by the DM you saw, and I won't judge you by the players I've seen at tables on these shows. I said, well, I think they agreed with that. Okay. And Mark says, what a great piece of cinematic history that movie. You're talking about Over the Top, aren't you? And so anyway, I chose to do Sunless Citadel, and I chopped it down. And here's why. Because I chose Sunless Citadel. Number one, I had never run it. I had never played it. I want to do, some things are just, I make unwise decisions sometimes. Yes, I should have chosen a much smaller scale adventure. Yes. Do I wish I had? No, because I chopped it down. I did what I wanted to do with it. When you're playing with a group of people that have no idea how to play at all, they don't care what they're playing. They don't care if they're playing Sunless Citadel. They don't care if they're playing, what is that called? The Great Sheep Race or something like that. Anyway, you're fine to find sheep. But these small scale it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered if it was Sunless Citadel or something else. It was going to be chopped down. It was still going to be 2.5 hours that I was going to play for, because that's what the time they had booked for. I wasn't going to give them any less. In fact, we went 3 because I wound up debriefing the session. We talked about it. We got some out of it. We talked about who's the MVP, all these kind of things, right? So we did all that. And I enjoyed the Sunless Citadel. I would like to play a full deal of it and play it in its fullness, because I think it's fun. I came up with a few good ideas. I may or may not mention them because they're going to go into the next zine. But we'll see. We'll see if we'll mention that. But anyway, I did Sunless Citadel. Anybody else played Sunless Citadel? Have you run it? Have you played it? Let me know in the comments. Have you run it? Have you played it? And once again, these folks did not know anything about D&D. So I had to go over things like, prep, right? I had to prep them. I had to say, okay, here's your character sheet. I told them, I say, look, we're not going to, this is how we're going to play. I said, if you're having fun, you're winning. Right? Listen, don't worry about it. Okay. And I'll explain through a lot of the tips that we have. Okay. That I'm going to go through. So let me give you the 3. Okay. For those of you that are watching, that you're looking to say, okay, Paul, what do I need to know to run a group larger than what I am used to. And I'm going to say that these 3 tips are not going to come to any great revelation per se. Maybe some of the other ones will, and I'll try to share as we go. But the 3 big tips are the same tips you would use for small, but I think you have to be equally prepared no matter what. Whether you're running for the 4 or 5 or whether you're running for the 8 or 9, and you'll see the difference as we go along. Okay. You'll see as we go along. So the first thing of the tips is this. Number 1, know your adventure. You know, I read it. It was in. I took it from the Tales of the Yawning Portal. I did 5e with them, and I'm not opposed to 5e. By the way, I'll run 5e, especially if you're a professional dungeon master. You're not going to say no. No, I don't run. I'm just not going to do that. I mean, that's saying no to money. I wouldn't say no to money. We don't say no to money. Listen, I'm just not going to say no to money. But know your adventure. So I read through it 3-4 times, and then I'll take notes, right? So I will then do 2 things. I will write down my notes I'll write them down in the book, like I'll show you here. I'll put sticky notes. Anybody else sticky note people? Right? So I'll put little sticky notes in there. Sticky notes on pages. What do I absolutely need to know, right? And so I'll do sticky notes, and then I'll write the adventure out. I will go 1, 2, 3. I'll put all the rooms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll put all the notes in a row. And I'm glad I did that in this case, because when I did that, I didn't have to look at the book. Be honest with you, I did not have to look at the book at all. Because these guys, they're so funny. They're just, listen, they're this group of new people have never played before. Nobody has told them that they're supposed to, go off track or do something else. But they did. They were like, just like our players are like normal players who have played before will fixate on certain things. They got fixated on things that I'm like, okay, I guess we're going there. I guess we're diving into that. But that's why you want to know your adventure. Once you know your adventure, once you know the foundation of what you're doing, and you can look and you can do it off notes, I didn't have to read the book at all. All I did, because what we were doing here, we weren't focusing on the rules. We were focusing on having fun. We were focused on, because it's their new thing, right? I tell them this is not a rule-playing game. This is a role-playing game. So as their first time and as a celebration of this birthday party and of the birthday guy, these guys were, in their 40s and had never played. This was so weird, by the way, because I'm turning 57 in about a month. And I thought about it. I talked to my friend on the phone the other day, and I told him about this, and I said, is it weird that I was the oldest guy in the room running the game, and that there's a 17-year difference. When I was 17, when we were 17, we were peak D&D. We had done hours, days, nights, just weeks. We were peak D&D. And it was weird for me, because now I am with people who, when I was at peak D&D, were not even born. That is crazy to me. I was so weird. It was such a surreal moment, as they say. And I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? And I didn't think about that till afterwards, till we had this conversation. And so I said, okay, well, here we go. So we get older. So what, right? So know your adventure. Know your adventure. If you know your adventure, it doesn't matter what your players do. You know the adventure. You can pivot if you need to. But if you don't know your adventure, and I mean know it, like you know where you're going, if you know what the end is, right? I always have a phrase I like to say is, like, start with the end in mind. If I know that who the big bad is, what the room is, if all I know is the last room, it doesn't matter what the other rooms are. But Paul, you're not playing the adventure. I am playing the adventure. I'm looking at my notes. But my goal isn't to play every room. My goal is to get them to the end. which is, hey, we're going to fight the big bad, and you're going to hopefully accomplish your goal here. Okay, let's move on. So the second thing is, that's the first thing you know your adventure. If you're going to play for a large group of people, yes, you should know your adventure for smaller groups, but you can fiddle around. You have time. When you're playing with a large group of people, you don't have that kind of time. You just have to keep things going, right? So the next thing is this. You got to know your players. Small group, you may know your players. You may know who they are. Right? Even if, you have to know them in the sense that you have to know them personally. But when you're looking at your table, you have to know your players. So when I walk into a room of a larger group of people, and this could be at a con, this could be at this party, this could be somebody who books a game, and I have to look around the room and I have to read the room really fast. I have to know the players a little bit. So like before I was set up and all that, I went into the other room and they had some really fun, like food things. Like, it was decked out, themed out. Like they had dragon wings. They had elf blood. I don't know what that elf blood was, but it was elf blood. They offered me like drinks. And I said, listen, if you give me drinks, the game you're going to get is not what the game you might expect. So I'm going to abstain from drinking because it's just not a good idea for the DM. You don't want to, you just don't. You just don't. You'd have to know me in high school. Trust me when I tell you this, okay? I've gotten over it, all right? Let's see. Erudite DM says, age is a figment of our imaginations. Yes, it is. Mark says, ignore the shadowy figure in the back of the tavern and partake in helping the stable boy help gather up the missing livestock instead. Players love going off script and delving into trivialities. They do. They get fixated on things, and that's fine. I'm there. I'm running. It don't matter to me. I'm running the game for you. I'm not trying to. I am way beyond like, we gotta do this, and I'm not doing that. I'm running the game for you. If you're having fun fixating on this thing, go crazy. I'm here. Let's go. Right? Know your players. So when you got to know your players, like you said, if you have a regular group, it's one thing. But new people, one thing I do. Let me see if I have a card here with me. Just a quick tip, like here. So, and I don't have everything I need, but I'll show you. Like on the table, I don't know if you saw it or not. I give them a little baggie, and in that baggie, I give them. They have dice, and that my players get free dice. So if they book a thing, they get free. I buy the dice, and I give them a free. Because why? Because why not? They're brand new players. I want them to keep playing, so I will buy dice. These are inexpensive dice from Amazon. You get a full set, and boom, you get them in bulk. And say, here you go. Free dice. Come back and play. The other thing I give them is I give them an index card. And that index card, part of knowing your players is I need to know their names. So I will give them this little card, this little table card, right? Like this. And I'll say, okay, put your name, your real name, on this side of the card. And then once we get to the place where we're now naming our characters, which they had some great names for their characters, by the way. They came up with some good things. I told them, and of course I always tell them, so like, Bob's a popular name. Feel free to use Bob. Everybody uses Bob. What's up, Mike B? Yeah, I sip slowly as a DM, lest the game take a turn. You know it. Listen, those guys, they had enough drinks for everybody. It was fine. They weren't like rude or anything like that. But listen, it was okay. It was a birthday party. I'm fine with it. But for me, I must abstain. So anyway, once they come up with their character's name, they'll have their name, which I want to know their name. And then they put their character's name. And as I said earlier, I was in there kind of just looking at the food and stuff, and I'm talking with people. So I'm getting to know them before the game starts. So I'm just trying to connect with them, right? Because listen, I want to make friends with them before I play. Because if it goes south, I want them to say, oh, that poor guy. I don't want them to say, ooh, I don't really know anything about that guy. If it goes south, I want them to have some mercy or pity on me, but they can't do that if they don't know me. And I want to know them because maybe what's your expectations? What are you expecting tonight? And if I can know that, then I can, flex the game in certain ways that, are going to be helpful. That are going to help them have a great time. Because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help these brand new people to the game. I want to be a good ambassador to the hobby, right? I want people that when they've had an encounter, when they've played the game, we've all heard horror stories about DMs and things like that, bad DMs, and the people never played again. And I hate that. And I've had bad DMs. Some of you maybe have had bad DMs, and maybe it didn't persuade you to quit. It didn't make me quit because I got them when I was older. So I was able to figure it out and go, that guy. That helps when you play as a teenager because then you're used to all kinds of crap. People not following the rules, chaos, all that stuff. So I want to be a good ambassador, and part of knowing that is know your players. So if you're playing with a bigger group, first of all, know the adventure, backwards and forwards. Most of all, know the end of the game. It doesn't matter if they go somewhere else. Get them to the end if that's like if they're going to stay on task with that. And I'm not talking about railroading. I'm talking about just get them to, bring it up somewhere. And if they don't, that's fine too. But in this case, they did, so that was nice. I like when they do that. And then these little cards. So that I can call them by their, I'll just leave that on the floor. Oh, I got another one here. I can call them by their real name and I can call them by their character's name when it's time because that's what I want to do, right? So there we go. All right, moving right along. So know your adventure, know your players. Mike says, yeah, when we were young, we didn't know the difference. Yeah, that's right. True. All right, so know your players, know the adventure, know the players. Then the third big truth, and this is true, like I said, of all things, set expectations. So part of that is in running a big group or a small group, if I don't know them, I have to set expectations. This is what we're going to do. So you have to come in. That's part of knowing the adventure and knowing your players. It builds a level of confidence as you go, I know where we're going. They need to have confidence in me that I know where I'm going. So I'll set the expectations. Hey guys, let me tell you what we're going to do tonight. And a lot of times I'll point to the three. I'll point to the Joe. Hey, now technically you only own $3 of my money. So be careful. You're going to give it all away. Eventually you have to find a $2 bill. But thank you, Joe, for the super chat for a drink next time you DM. There we go. Thank you. And by the way, you're welcome. Anybody's welcome to super chat. Joe's not the only one. You're welcome to do so. Not mandatory. I don't answer questions that way. You're fine. Okay. All right. So moving right along, set expectations, right? Know the adventure, know your players, set expectations. In other words, setting the expectations, I will go through the three pillars. I'll say tonight, everybody, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have combat. We're going to do some fighting, swinging swords. We're going to do some role play, and I'm going to encourage you to do some role play. And, I set them up and say, well, what does that sound like? And, they'll talk to me. I'll say, no, talk to them. You're talking to them. And then you had, you have exploration. We're going to explore some things that are going to be wild, right? And Joe says, if he doesn't drink, he's a lightweight. That's all he will need. The $1.99 Shirley Temple for me, please. But set expectations, especially, yes, in a small group, right? But in a large group, even more so because everybody's looking at you to set the pace. So when you say we're going to do three things tonight, we're going to explore, we're going to role play, and we're going to do combat. Fairly simple. I also set expectations like this. Say, look, there's no player versus player. We're not attacking one another. That's just not going to be. Okay? Oh, that's true. I did tip you 5. So you're up. So you're up 7 now. Okay. That's all right. That's fine. We'll keep doing the math there. Set expectations, right? Tell them what you're going to do, right? What is the old thing is in giving speeches and so on? Tell them what you're going to do. Tell them what you're going to do. Tell them, and then tell them again what you just did, right? So there's kind of this layering effect of what you're doing. Absolutely not, sir. I am scarred, and I cannot be around puppets anymore. Okay, so set expectations. Those are 3 things you can do with any group. It's even more so, I think, in a larger group because there's a lot of chaos going on and there's people that are looking at you. Okay. All right. So let me give you, this is my, like I said, and I have to say, this is not my first big group, my biggest group I've ever done was about 50 people. Now, let me explain. 50 people. Because I'm a certified therapeutic game master, we're going to go into big tips here in just a minute. I was able to do a very large thing for a group of mental health professionals. They came to a seminar, and I taught at this seminar and did a large group thing where I broke them up into small groups of 4 into a party. I gave them a bowl and some dice and a D20. And then on the screen, I gave them prompts. So I would walk them through the process, and then after each one, I would go around and say, what was the result, right? Or role play this, or do this. So they understood what role playing was, and maybe how to use it with their clients, and decide whether that's something, right? So we did that. So that is the largest group on not an official game, but that I actually walked through, which I think prepared me for this group in some way, because I wasn't as freaked out as I thought I was going to be. I was like, oh, we got 9 people. Okay. Or 8 people. We're fine. We're good. Right. So we move along. I do have memberships. I have a 99-cent a month membership. And if you do, Joe, I'll send you a zine that you won't read. Okay. I'll send you a zine you won't read for 99 cents. Just look under memberships. It's there. I promise. So let's go on to the big tips here. Like I said, all these folks were newbies. My first big tip, if you're running a game for a big group, is that you have to, let me get rid of this. The first thing is you have to be in control. Large groups can get out of hand quickly. Because just like, if I've worked with teenagers before, and if you're not engaged with them in some way, they're going to wander off. And adults are the same way. The adults will start looking at phones. The adults will start talking with one another. And they did that anyway. But at least I had enough control at the beginning where they said, oh, this guy's engaging. He knows what he's talking about to some degree. And he says, all right, you're going to be in control. And I'm not talking about dictatorship. I'm talking about you're in control because you are the best, most planned person at the table. You know exactly what's going on. You know where this is going to go. You know what the end result is. And so you're in control in the sense of saying, look, I want you to have a great time. I need your attention to do that, right? So I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you do this, right? So if you guys will just stay with me, I'm going to help you learn how to play your character. I'm going to teach you what the dice do. And then I go through all what the dice is. And I say, look, all you need is going to do this D20, right? You're going to need this D20 here. That's really the only dice you're going to need. And then maybe one other. And that's about it. And that's really all we did all night. Is saying, look, you got your D20 and then whatever your weapon does. Did I miss a few things? Absolutely. Absolutely missed a few things. But you know what? They didn't care. They were like, okay, this was fun. We did a fun thing here, right? So you got to be in control, okay? And listen, your process for being in control is going to be different than mine, right? Depending on how many are in your group who know how to play versus how many do not. All of in this large group did not know how to play. So that is going to be different maybe from the group that you're going to have, who is a mixed group of people. Right? You're going to have a mixed group of people. Some do know how to play, some don't. Some are at various levels of how this game works. And you have to be able to, not only do you have to be the most in control person at the table, you have to be the most patient. Because other people at the table don't have to be patient because they're, in my game, sometimes they're paying for it, right? I don't have to be paid. I'm paying for this. I don't have to be patient if I don't want to. But, you're going to have to be extra patient. Right? Because some people are not going to be, are not going to be ready for it, right? And so once again, your big group's going to be different than mine because it's a paid gig. Yours is maybe not a paid gig. And so in this case, I was both the teacher and the game runner. There was no one else there to help me with the mechanics or things like that. There's nobody I could look to. Like normally you could look at the table. If you have a mixed group of people, some know, some don't. There's some people that can help you do that, right? So I ditched most of the rules because it didn't matter. None of the people cared whether if I told them the rule that you put you have to put a chicken leg on your head and roll your dice. They'd say, "Oh, chicken head on my dice." Right. So I'm like, it doesn't matter, right? Like here's it's like that show. What is that show? It's like the points are made. The game's made up and the points don't matter, right? The second tip. So first, be in control, right? Don't be, look, if they're wild, don't be as wild as they are per se. Be the one that's in control. Be the one that's saying, look, I'm running the game. Okay. We have to be a little bit different from each other. The game's never going to happen. Okay. Yes, there always has to be one at the center of attention. It's me. It's me. Daniel, that's me. Okay. Just saying. And I have to tell them that, because if they don't, then they're going to miss something. Maybe you can borrow Eric's dry. Oh yeah, maybe, right? Yeah. Yes. So I'm not patient enough. Shocking, right? Well, we're all at our various levels. We're all still growing, right? After being in control, the next thing you want to do with a larger group, and once again, these are, I'm just learning these. I'm not telling you these are absolute things per se. Once again, not an expert here. I'm just passing along what I found to be true in this group and some other groups, right? Maybe not as large as this one, but I think they still apply. In this one, in this case, I don't get bogged down with the rules. And why? Because, well, they don't know the rules anyway. This is a role-playing game, not a rule-playing game. There are other groups who that's what they want. They want as much, give me all the rules. I want the rules, okay? I want all the rules. So since they didn't know it, I said, okay, I'm not worried about, you're going to move, you're good. Not worried. Didn't even care if you moved 30 feet. Didn't matter. Not the point. They didn't care about movement. They didn't care about, I told them they only get to attack. You can move and you can attack. So I keep it pretty simple, right? And, if you have someone, I don't get bogged down with the rules too, because like I said, I didn't have anybody that helped me out anyway. It wouldn't matter. Usually if you have a group of people that have some knowledge, they can help you out with it. But it didn't matter. Okay. They're essentially, it's always good to have, by the way, if you play with a group of people who don't know the rules, it's always good to ask somebody to just play with you who does know the rules, because they can be your extra DM at the table. If I had, I don't know not in this case, I wouldn't do it, but in maybe other cases, if somebody's there if I know that they know some of the rules, I'll ask them, hey, so would you co-DM with me tonight and help me with the rules, or help me with a player, or help them with their character, right? So if I can pick somebody out so that we don't get bogged down in the rules, right? So we can keep things going, which is our third point, is you got to keep things moving, just like this video here. We got to keep things moving. And that's it, man. We have to, those are my top 3, if you will, tips, for running games that are larger than what you're used to, is because things will get away from you, right? You have to keep things moving. Otherwise people get distracted. People get off on tangents. People do crazy stuff, right? Daniel says, I used to be more patient. Now I'm just getting more curmudgeon-y. Well, I understand. Feel you. And then, lots of dittos there. Lots of dittos. And so you have to keep one of the quickest ways to get bogged down is well, let me do this. You tell me here, a little quick quiz. Quickest way to get bogged down, you think, in a game session. Where do things tend to bog down sometimes? You tell me. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer here. But I'm going to tell you and how this particular point, how I keep things moving in the game. And you could do it, once again, for any group. It doesn't matter, whatever the size group. But in large groups, I think this is super helpful. So give me what do you think the number one way of a way a game gets bogged down? Let me know. I'm sure you're going to be answering. So I'm going to say, you can give me your answer, but I'm going to tell you, I think it's initiative. And in this case, when you're rolling for initiative and you have 8 people rolling for initiative, guess what? I did not go, now it's your turn, now it's your turn, now it's your, no. No. One person rolls the dice, and then it goes to the right. That's to keep things moving. Once they know that it goes to the right, then they know. I don't have to popcorn around to then, okay. And then somebody forgets, like, oh, it's my turn. No, you're right after them. That's all you need to know is you are right after them. Okay, Mike says, yeah, you get bogged down in booze. Yeah, for sure. Combat and social interactions. I like the social actions. To me is the combat and the social actions can get 100% get bogged down. The combat, and we'll talk about that in a minute too, as we keep things moving. Combat is I made sure that it didn't matter about the hit points. I'm not using true hit points. Like if you hit the thing twice, it's dead. I mean, they were facing twig blights, goblins. I think twig blights may have been one hit die. The goblins maybe were 2 hit die for the big battle, right? Right. So yeah, so combats can certainly do it. I am less concerned, even though social interactions can go on, which then brings me to Erudite's comment. Shopping excursions, those can certainly bog down an adventure, depending. Sometimes the shopping is the adventure. Am I right? Interesting title. Thank you, sir. But yeah, so the deal is this: keep things moving. Why? Because even if you're wrong, even if they're wrong, it's okay to be wrong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they get the rule wrong. It doesn't matter if you get the rule wrong. The point of this session with brand new people, in my case, dig deeper into a book or into more videos. Okay, you can always do that. What you can't do initially, can you always have fun? If this session is fun. If this session's fun, guess what? You want more fun. If this session is not fun, remember you only get, what is it? You don't get a second chance to make a good first impression. And yes, am I going to sacrifice some things up front to not get bogged down and keep things moving so that these folks can have fun? Absolutely. And I know there are purists. I know there are other people who maybe feel differently. That's okay. And if you feel differently in the chat, that's okay as well. I'm fine with that. But I know the assignment. The assignment for me is I want them to have fun. There was nothing egregious that I did that, whatever. I let them do whatever they wanted to do, basically, though. I mean, look, when you have people who say, I am shooting Eldritch Blast out of my nipples, to me, we're winning. We're having a fun game at that point. If you feel okay enough at the table that you're shooting Eldritch Blast out your nipples, buddy, we are having a good time. Okay? I'm just saying. Mike says, I want to do this. No, you shouldn't do the other thing because it will have a better... Right, yeah, no, we're not doing that. No. We're not min-maxing. We're not doing any of those things. Nope. Yes, they do. Shopping is an adventure. Shopping is never an adventure. It's torture. Yeah, and listen, for the DM, I don't know, other people might feel that way. I don't know. Being indecisive, need to have a leader and make quick decisive in a timely fashion. Yes, with patience. Because not everybody around the table that I was playing at, once again, it's a party. I could be the parent and scold them and say, hey, pay attention. No, it's not what we're doing. We're slowly getting there and keeping it moving. And you know what? Once again, it was good. It was fine. They were all happy. Okay. Let's see. Is Paul chopping for everyone else, or is it a bad connection on my end? The voice keeps cutting out. I don't know. My connection's fine over here. At least my stuff's going good. Yes, a mic thing, Paul. Okay, maybe. Keep buffering. Might be a network thing. Might be. Video is fine, not choppy. Okay. Voice is out 80%. 80% of the time. Holy crap. I don't know what to do with it then. All right, I messed with my mic a little bit. I don't know what it's going to do, but we'll find out. 9% out now. Fantastic. Guys, I don't know. I guess it's time for a new mic. That's all I can say. Time for a new mic. I've heard it enough now, and I hear you. A new mic. I'm just going to buy a new mic just because I can buy a new mic. That's what's going to happen. Keeps freezing every while for me. Fantastic. Where did the magic missile shoot out of? That's none of your business. That's and it'll be found in the membership area. In the membership area. Okay. All right, so let me give you some last tips. I don't want to keep you guys all night, so I'm going to go ahead and cruise through these last tips. And by the way, when I go and ask people, I don't do this thing by myself, right? So when I know that I'm going to be running this game, I reached out to some other professional DMs that I have in the Start Playing community, and because I knew there would be others likely, like myself, who would run larger groups, and here's some other ideas, okay? And these are things that I knew from playing smaller groups, but of course in larger groups, it's the same, right? Pre-gen characters. There we go. All right, good deal, Mark. I'm glad it's back in, glad it's working. But pre-gen characters, right? Everybody played second level. Because when you get to third level, obviously you start getting other bits and pieces start coming into it, especially in 5e. And other games as well. There's other games where you're at third level and things start to kick in. But you don't want to, for new players, you don't want to weigh them down with too many options, too many choices, right? Roll the dice, swing your sword, cast the spell, do the thing, right? So pre-gen character, start level 2, right? 3 gets weird. All or nothing saves, speeds everything up. Celebrate everything, right? And this is probably one of the things that I try to do is that, look, there were several natural 20s. They loved it. It's so funny, right? Brand new people, because I tell them at the beginning, right? I tell them, look, ones, something very bad happens. But on 20s, something very good happens. And they get to explain and do the thing, right? And membership area. So anyway, going on. And then this is a good point here too. Adventure flow. In other words, when I read the adventure, right, I am saying, okay, quick, when you say introduce your character, which I think is important, especially for new people, so they can do a little bit of, so everybody at the table knows who they're playing with, kind of the character-wise. They say, okay, quick 1-minute intro per character, start the adventure location, propose big group question, right, minor role play, move into fight, introduce boss halfway for hype, end with tale of riches and outro role play. Which is good. I think, you have to segment your adventure. You say to yourself, this should take this much time. This should take maybe this much time. Once again, if you're operating on a 3-hour limit, which is what I do when I'm booked professionally, I tell them, I say, look, we're going to run a 3-hour adventure because I'm not, look, you're going to pay me a lot of money, right, to run. If you want 6 hours, get your checkbook because 3 hours is sufficient for me. It's my ballpark, right? That's kind of where I'm at. And so when you start to map it out and go, I think this will take so much time. I think this will take so much time. I think this, and then you can kind of calculate where then, if they're taking longer in one area, you have to then shorten another area. And I know there's probably some DMs who say, no, but I have to squeeze all this in. And I'm like, no, you have limited time. You have to cut something, right? You have to cut a scene, or you have to cut a room, or it's like editing a film. Like, okay, we're going to have to cut that part out. Don't cut out a part that, like, with a clue in it, because then maybe the adventure doesn't make sense. You have to be careful which rooms you're going to cut out, right? And that's what I did with mine. If you've ever played Sunless Citadel, there's a whole top level of kobolds. They didn't meet not one kobold. They went to the rooms, no kobolds, because the role play and the other thing would have happened. Okay. Mark says, large group, I like to use a system like Swords and Wizardry or BX&D for new large group, but if they were set on 5e, understand. Yeah, they were set on 5e. And that's partly partly because I believe that's what they saw played. So I didn't want to play something entirely different than what they saw and take them out, because they had a vibe of what they wanted to see. Okay. Daniel says, I only ever worry about the room we're in. It's fair, right? I'm one room ahead, though. I am one room ahead because I go, okay, I know where they're going to go. And by the way, not a lot of choices. Like, this was pretty, like, there was no, do you want to go left? Do you want to go right? Do you want to that? We did not have time for a lot of those choices, right? So I didn't railroad them. It was just very linear in the sense of how we did this dungeon. I wanted to get them to the place they wanted to go. If they told me they wanted to leave, that's fine too. I am wide open to that. But for the sake of cutting down the choices, because then they start talking, I think we should go left. I think we should go right. I think we should go straight. With that large group, then they're trying to find consensus. And then this party gets split. Oh my gosh, and the party gets split. Fun at a small level. I would say not so much fun at a large level, because who knows what's going to happen. Lots of death. And I did tell them, by the way, your characters can die. And there were people who took damage. And I didn't try to purposely kill them. I told them, look, I'm not going to kill you. I said, the only way you die in this game is if the dice do not favor you, or stupidity can kill you. If you do something really dumb. If you hear me say, are you sure you want to do that? You know you've got your warning. That's your warning, okay? And then rules, right? The last thing there is rules. Rule of cool versus rules as written. And for this type of rule of cool is what works, okay? And you're just keeping it moving. It's about fun. Memory is greater than technicalities, okay? All right. Let me go and run through just a few of these. Mark says, Paul, if you ever do this again, if you don't do a large group, you might want to check out Adventures League module, small chunks for an overarching story. Yes. Once again, I'm the fool here. I'm the one that chose to do Sunless Citadel, which is it's at least a 2-part session, two gaming sessions. But because I wanted to play it, I wanted to do it because I had never done it before, I just cut it down. That's just me. I completely understand, though. You can't talk any sense to me, though. When I want to play it, I just want to play it. And by the way, did you know it's the 25th anniversary? 25th? Yeah. 25th anniversary, 20 years? What is it? It's something. No, it's 25. 25 years since Sunless Citadel. It came out. Split the party. Who does that? Tim. I don't know. You had to run it, buddy. That was. What are you gonna do? By the way, before we're gonna be landing on the plane here in just a minute, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, please. And if you're not a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you like videos like this, if you like the cut of my jib, you like more videos like this, be sure to go ahead and subscribe. All right, I'm gonna just cruise through these more tips that I have. Okay, fast start. So yeah, first thing they did is I got them started quick into role play. I used a device. I gave them, what did I do with these? I gave them what I call flashback cards. So in other words, we didn't start in the town or the tavern. I know, blasphemy. But what I did give them is I gave them these rumor cards. And I'll explain more in another video. But basically, I gave them each a rumor card. Like normally you start an adventure with, you roll the dice and say, somebody knows a rumor. But in this case, I took all the rumors, handed them out. I said, when you hear something that is connected to your card, go ahead and share it. And that's how they did it along the adventure route on the way to the Sunless Citadel. So they were able to, so when something triggered another thing, so it was like they were talking on the road as if they'd been in town, and they were hearing these rumors all over the place, wherever they were in town, right? So fast start, twig blights, right when they got to the edge before they went into the Sunless Citadel, okay? Next, clear hook. Once again, that's the rumor, right? That's not the rumor, that's the mission. So somebody got a mission card, right? So I had a mission card in here, and that's the first person to talk. And they had the mission card. And the mission card, when they read it, then somebody else. Then that's how the rumors started to come out. That's how they learned what the rumors were, which informed the adventure, right? And I also made sure I gave jobs and things like note takers. That's kind of important too sometimes, right? That give them a little bit more responsibility at the table. So yeah, clear hook, clear objectives. You're going to go and find the 2 lost kids, the young people, the young adults who went to go find these apples. That's what they were looking for, was apples. Okay. Go to the Joe first. Write that down. Very important. Absolutely. Go to the Joe first. Next. Okay. After that, you want to, after you do clear hook and get that done, you want to keep your ears open. And this is so important. There's a lot of people in that room. And in that size room, there are going to be people in that larger group. There's going to be people who feel like they're being left out. Yes, you're supposed to be concerned for the adventure, and I was. And once again, that's part of knowing your adventure, right? That's step 1. If you know your adventure top to bottom, you can free up your mind to do other things. But if you're so dialed into the adventure, if you got your head in the book, you're not looking at the people's faces. You're not looking who's disengaged. You're not, especially in a large group. Smaller groups, you can, work with that. But in a larger group, people are getting talked over. People are disengaging if there's lots of big personalities there. So partly is saying, look, keep your ears open, because I heard plenty of good ideas from people who were not being heard by their fellow players. And I say, hey, what did you say? What did you say? And I got them to, bring it out, and they brought it out. I said, that's a great idea. How many people think that's a great idea? And they all heard it, and they say, yeah, we should do that. Or that's their action, or whatever it is. And so if you know your adventure and you know your players, right, then you can go ahead and you have bandwidth to listen and keep your ears open for the good ideas that are happening. Or I gave out, I don't have one with me, but bottle caps, which are luck points. And, I stole that from the podcast. What podcast was that from? It was a Pathfinder first edition Glass Cannon podcast. They gave out bottle caps. That was like my favorite thing. What's his name would go, bottle cap. And he'd give, so I just got me a bunch of bottle caps, and I gave out bottle caps as luck points. And they love them some luck points, because they were cashing them in. They did not forget about that. They got to re-roll. And so it worked out really well. Then key encounters, right? I did not have, in my brain, because I knew the adventure, I said this, and this. Those things are going to matter most. If something happens in between, that's fine. But if we hit these story beats, I think we're going to be in good shape. And if we don't, we're still going to be in good shape, because I'm going to figure it out as we go along, right? So hit those key encounters. Don't have too many things going on. Too many things. Keep loose time. Yes, you're keeping time, but you're keeping a loose time, because you're saying, okay, this might take a little bit longer. This may take a little bit shorter, but you are keeping track, right? You are allocating in your brain, like I said earlier, allocating time for each section of the adventure, 15-minute intros, et cetera, right? You're saying, look, I know that I'm going to talk for 15 minutes up front about this, instructions. Then 15 minutes is going to be walking to the Citadel, and you're going to do rumors. That should take this amount of time. But once again, large group, you have to be conscious that it's not going to go as fast as you think, because, and this, I've done this with smaller groups where things got so dialed in, I had to push to the end. I had to hurry up, because, I did not allocate time well. I don't blame the players. I blame me for that. So I did not allocate my time well. So keep loose time. Put some numbers on there so you have an idea of how long that will go. That worked for me. It may work for you. Do what you want to do, though. Then stay flexible, right? Stay flexible. That's really the last thing, is really, once you know the adventure, once you know your players, once you have set expectations for your game, the rest is you can stay flexible, because now you can maneuver. Now you can do more improv. Now you can do more things. But you got to have those 3 things up front and then these other little things sprinkled in as well. Okay? So stay flexible. Stay flexible. And that is, I think I did, that took up an hour. How about that? So I'm going to wrap up with a few. First of all, if you have any questions about anything? I think I have a lot of guys in here now that are DMs and GMs and have run plenty of games. I've got all the high echelon people here, that are watching, have done this before. So they're probably either nodding their heads or going, "Well, I wouldn't do it that way." That's fine. I don't care. But if you're new, if you're watching this in the future and you have questions, leave some questions down below. Happy to answer those questions. I will let you know that I do have some games that I am running. I just put up some new dates. So I'm going to try to once again, run Return of the White Wizard. Okay. So if you are interested in games that I am running, now I book through Start Playing. And now you say, Paul, didn't you say you're not using Start Playing? No. I'm not using Start Playing as my generator for players. I host there because that's how I send people from YouTube and other places there, especially to do reviews, which those people gave some very nice reviews for me. I think I have like 20 reviews now. It's like crazy. God bless them. So good for them. That works for me as well, right? So I got some good reviews up there, and they left some very nice reviews. But I'm going to share just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and drop just a couple of links if you want to check out any of the games that I have. This is Return of the White Wizard. If that is something of interest to you, we can set it up and go from there. Let's see here. Let me drop it in the chat. And you can check it out for yourself. There's a Return of the White Wizard. I have not run that. Once again, I'm interested in running things that I've never run before. This is a Shadow Dark game, by the way. So if you're interested in Shadow Dark. And then I do, from time to time, run 5e stuff. Mark says, since this was one type of adventure, would you use Quantum Ogre so objective was reached by end of session? In this case, yes. Because would they have not? Maybe not. Maybe I say that, but once again, it was a linear type of adventure. There wasn't a lot of other places they could go. So I didn't have 10 different hallways or 10 different options. If they looked at me and said, if they said, I think we're going to go to wherever, you know what? I could have abandoned it. I don't know if I would have been married to it. I would have said, okay, they have different objectives. But in this case, it worked. It's hard to say because they did the mission. They did the mission. They went through the whole thing. They did not go off path. I don't know if I would have. See, that's a good question though, Mark, because I don't know if I would have or not. I am not one necessarily to make a thing happen if it doesn't need to happen. If they want to go another way, then maybe I think of something even better. Maybe I think of something more creative. Maybe I find, maybe they find something worse. But then I can't help that. They made choices. I believe in player agency, 100% player agency. So if they make choices in the game that I'm like, okay, you guys want to do that? Let's go. I'm with you, right? You're not here playing my game. I'm here running a game for you. And wherever that game goes, that's where it goes. I try to make the mission as intriguing enough as possible that they want to do it. And if they go off script, that's fine, right? It's okay with me. I'm not mad about it. Like, I'm not like, whatever. I'm like, hey, it's your game. I'm just here. And then the other games I was talking about before, I want to run this. I also want to run the Hideous Halls of Mugdaglub, which Mike, the erudite DM, has played. I don't know if we finished it, but it was fun. It was fun to play. And I will put that in here as well. You can check that out for yourself. Once again, I keep my rates fairly simple, $20 a head, especially for those of you that are on the channel here. In normal, regular, real-life people, it's $25 a head, right? And then the last thing, like I said, if you're interested in, like, if you're brand new and say, Paul, I would love to, I'm a 5e person, that's okay. You know, we welcome all the people here. All the peoples, 5e people, old school people. Come on in. What I'm going to talk about, though, I'm going to talk mostly about a lot of old school things. And so we have, let's see, the last one I'll put down here is I'll put the Lost Mines of Phandlever because it's a good intro. So if you're brand new here and you've never played an adventure before, if you find this channel and you find this video and you go, hey, I want to play something, okay, Lost Mines of Phandlever right there. And then last thing, just to wrap things up, once again, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them. I will let you know that if you do not have my zine yet, this is the Hex Crawl of Horror, issue number 4, which is kind of sets the pace for the things that I'm doing right now. Issue number 10 will hopefully be out by May. I have to do videos maybe tomorrow or Thursday where I am naming everything in my region according to the according to Rob's How to Make a Fantasy Sandbox, which is what I'm using. I think I'm on steps 15 through 19, something like that. So we'll be doing that. So if you're interested in that, there'll be links down below as well. You can check that out for yourself if you don't have it yet. And let's see here. And then you can get it in a bundle, by the way. I'll put the bundle here. And if you don't want the bundle, you can get to the other things to do that. But I'll put the bundle right here. If you want a bundle, because this is issues 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then I'll put in 10. And basically, you're buying 6 or buying 6, getting the 7th free, something like that. There's always a free one in there. It's never, it's never full price in regards to that. There's always like, I'll take $2 off for one of the zines. So you're always paying $2 less than what it would cost at the whole, right? Just because, right? And let's see, I think that's it. What else do I have? Yeah, I think that's it. Do I have any more pictures here? Just the Hex Crawl, maybe? Let's put that. Let's get rid of that. So yeah, you can get the Hex Crawl bundle. And one last thing. All these notes that if you're interested, I have put all these DM tip sheet notes, and I've put them in one little PDF. And I'm going to put a link down below for those that it's free, right? I will be sending them. If you're members already, I'm going to just go ahead and send those to you. So you're going to get those in the emails. And then you can, once again, I'll put a link down below to that. Here we go. Group notes. We'll put that in there. All right, we'll put that in there as well. So if you want the notes that I shared tonight, you're welcome to have those. And once again, it's all written out, so I probably didn't hit all of the things maybe in there. I hit all the major points. I didn't get all deep into some of them that I wrote out. So, but yeah, that's I think that's it for tonight. I think we've accomplished our goals here. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by, hanging out. You didn't have to. You got, a lot of us live here on YouTube. We're like, we jump on other people's streams. We hang out here. So when somebody goes live, we go, oh, so-and-so's live. I'm going to go over there if I can make it. And so I want to thank all the fine folks from all the other channels who have stopped by. Those of you that stop in for chats quite often, thank you for stopping by and being a part. Because you're not only a part of my chats, you're a part of other people's chats as well. And so once again, if you are not a subscriber yet and you watch this at the end, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button. That tells me you like the video and want more of them. And yeah, we're going to call it a night, everybody. Kept it to just about an hour and 10 minutes. We're good. All right, that's it for tonight, everybody. Mark, thank you. Good time. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it. Glad you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for tonight. Love the videos, live streams you do. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you very much. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Otherwise, you guys have a great night. Have a great rest of the week. Have a good Easter week. And we will see you later, Mr. Tim. Thank you for stopping by. And we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.